Hi everyone, Erin here. We are going to do some planets today. Zuhain, this video is for you. Miss you, Zuhain. I have all your picture cards that we used in therapy with me at home. So we're going to do some questions today and see if you want to participate on your side. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I have this picture of the solar system. Okay, we live on Earth in a solar system. Okay, that's where all of our planets go around an orbit of the sun. Do you know what the name of the galaxy is? Where is our solar system? In what galaxy? In the Milky Way. In the Milky Way. Where is Earth? In the Milky Way. So, I know you love planets, and I know you can look at planets online, but when we were doing our research online, how do we see planets that are so far away in our solar system? We have to use something called a telescope. So, what do we use to see planets far, far away? A telescope. The planetariums have telescopes, and a lot of the pictures you look at online come from telescopes. So it's a telescope. It's a special tool we can use to look at things in our solar system far, far away. I know we talked about some of the planets. I think one of the planets had something called a volcano. I'm going to have to look to see which planet had a volcano. For some reason I'm thinking Venus, but I could be wrong. I'm sure you could tell me right now which planet had volcanoes, because I'm sure you remember which one has volcanoes. So volcanoes, Earth has volcanoes, where we live has volcanoes, and one other planet, I can't remember right now. I'm gonna have to get back to you, but I'm sure you know it already. So, other things that can be found in our solar system besides planets. This is not planets today, these are other things in our solar system. So we talked about the Milky Way, we talked about telescopes to see things far, far away. One of the things that we see are asteroids. Okay, millions exist, mainly around the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, okay? They're not really regularly shaped like a planet. They're a little weirdly shaped. They're made of rocks and metals. They also orbit the sun, and they go in something called a belt. Asteroids form an asteroid belt. Okay, here's an asteroid up close for you to look at. So the asteroid belt is between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. It contains millions of asteroids, ranging in size from little tiny specks of dust to over 400 kilometers. That's pretty big. The asteroids in the asteroid belt are likely pieces of a planet that would have formed but did not. So asteroids are something that's in our solar system. Another thing that's in our solar system are comets. Okay? And here's a type of comet, okay? A comet is a body that has an orbit around the sun. It's made of ice and dust and rocks. And when they get close to the sun, they get hotter and hotter and hotter, and then it looks like they form a tail. That's very cool. So comets have tails. Comets are made of ice and dust and rocks. Comets are pretty cool. So then the next thing we can talk about are meteors, or meteorites, or meteors, meteoroids. Okay, so here's a small picture of that. That little thing shooting in the sky, right here, that's a meteor. A meteoroid is a small object traveling through space. A meteor is a shooting star. So meteor is another word for shooting star. It travels through Earth's atmosphere, and we can see them. A meteorite is part of the meteor that makes it to Earth. Oh, so if it falls to Earth, that's the meteorite. See, what you see and people say a shooting star is actually a meteor. That's very cool. I'm sure you looked at things online about that. So now, something I know you like to talk about is the Kuiper belt. I know it's all the way far, far away by Neptune. Really far. And there are over 1,000 known objects in the Kuiper belt. More than 100,000? Bigger than 100 kilometers. That's pretty darn big. So the asteroid, like an asteroid belt, the Kuiper belt exists in a flat plane. So a Kuiper belt, I know you like to talk about the Kuiper belt. I didn't know about the Kuiper belt until you taught me about it. So that's the Kuiper belt. These are things in our solar system. Now, I know we talked once before about Earth has one moon. Okay, so Earth has one moon. And we were so lucky to have NASA send astronauts to the moon. An astronaut is somebody who goes in a space shuttle or a rocket ship to go to outer space. Back in the 1960s, the astronauts landed on the moon and took pictures. That is a picture of the astronaut on the moon of Earth. The astronaut's name who went on the moon first was Neil Armstrong. Very cool. He was the first person to step foot on the moon. An astronaut goes in the space shuttle and they go to outer space. Nowadays, they don't go to the moon. The astronauts go to the space station and they're scientists and they do science experiments. And we did look up things like that online through NASA. You can see there are things online for astronauts reading books to you. I'm going to see if I can find that link for you and put it up on your special page on Class Dojo so you can get that to watch with mommy. Okay? So we did a lot of things about things in our solar system that were not planets. Okay, so I know the things that you also like to talk about that are in our solar system that are not planets were the dwarf planets. So the dwarf planets are small planets that are not considered our main planets in our solar system. And there are a few dwarf planets. So it's kind of like a rocky body. It does orbit the sun like our planets, but it's not really big enough to be considered a whole planet by itself. So they started calling them dwarf planets. Okay? Dwarf planets are small planets, really far, far, far out past Neptune. Okay, the farthest away, past Neptune. So, the first one I have here is Makemake. Makemake is a dwarf planet. Very cool dwarf planet, Makemake. Up in the Kuiper belt. You like the Kuiper belt. It's covered in ice. It has no satellites. Okay. Another dwarf planet is Eris. Eris is another dwarf planet, meaning small planet. Oh, it's the biggest of the dwarf planets. Didn't know that. And it's the farthest, farthest, farthest away from the sun. Oh, it has its own moon. Look at that. You can see it has its own moon. Very, very cool. That's very far away from Earth, though. Haumea is another dwarf planet. Oh, it's weird because it kind of looks like a potato. It's not really completely round. It has a little bit of an oval shape to it. Haumea in the Kuiper belt. Oh, sorry to tell you, I forgot to tell you, it has two moons. It has two moons. Another dwarf planet is Ceres. Oh, it was discovered a long time ago in